Hello again and welcome to another episode of I Want to Talk About This Album. And today, I think this episode today, this record today, Pearl Jam, Dark Matter, it might be the fastest that I've ever done an album from the time I got it to the time I talked about it. Sometimes it's months, 6 months, maybe more. I only got this one yesterday and I want to, they like to say striking while the iron is hot. I think I want to strike while the iron is hot or something along those lines. So, and this might be a tough one for me to talk about because I have done, I've done 2 Pearl Jam episodes before. I did the self-titled Avocado album a year ago, maybe, and I did Yield, I think, before that. So this is the 3rd one I've done, and so I don't need to go over my entire Pearl Jam history, but you might remember if you watch those other episodes, and if you haven't, I'll tell you now, I can make a very, very, very strong case for Pearl Jam being my favorite band ever. That's right, more than Kiss, more than Motorhead, more than Iron Maiden, Metallica. Those are the only ones realistically that I can make a case for being my favorite band ever. Pearl Jam, the only reason maybe that I can't put Pearl Jam as number 1 is because they came along too late in my musical journey. You know, I first heard Pearl Jam in 1991, although I was a big Mother Love Bone fan before that. And so by that point, I've been listening to Kiss for 15 years, Iron Maiden for 9 years, who else? Motorhead for 8 years. So Pearl Jam came along a little bit late, but they are my favorite band live ever. Don't even think that it's anything other than Pearl Jam, who's my favorite live band. I've seen them more than any other band. They're one of the few bands that I've seen, I think there's only 3 or 4 that I've seen in all 3 countries. North America, my countries, Canada, Mexico, and United States. As a matter of fact, I've seen them in quite a few states or cities in the United States. I've seen them in Buffalo, New York. I've seen them in Cleveland, Ohio. I've seen them in Detroit, Michigan. And I've seen them most recently in Phoenix, Arizona. They were one of the bands that when they came, I would see them multiple times on a tour when I lived in Canada. Unfortunately, I've lived in Mexico for 19 years. They have come here twice, so my Pearl Jam live experiences have pretty much grind to a halt. The last time they were here was when was it? They came in 2009, and then again in 2014, 13, 15, Lightning Bolt tour, somewhere around there. It's been a long time since Pearl Jam has played in Mexico. I had to go see them in Phoenix a couple of years ago to reacquaint myself with their style. So it hurts me to say this. I don't like this album too much. I don't dislike it. I know I always say that a lot, but there's just really nothing about this album that really, makes me want to listen to it again. And the reason why I'm doing this album so quickly is, as I said, I just got it yesterday. This album came out almost a year ago today. As I'm recording this, it's April 17th. And this came out on April 19th last year. And I tried to buy it last year and it was unbelievably expensive, like 50% more than the normal albums are. There's no way I was gonna spend that much. And then I kept checking it for a few weeks or a month or maybe a couple months. Maybe I checked it every once in a while. It was always too expensive. So I guess at some point I just gave up on buying it because I always have to buy a Pearl Jam record. And so something made me think of it the other day. I guess I got it yesterday. I think I ordered it 2 days before that. And so I thought, it was finally a fair price, so I did buy it. And I wanted to get to it right away while it's kind of fresh. And maybe even more amazingly is that this is really bad for me as a massive, massive, huge Pearl Jam fan. I listened to this today twice, I always give an album at least two visits on the day that I talk about it. Often I will listen to it several times in the days leading up to it. When I listened to this album today, once in my exercise and then once sitting outside on my balcony taking notes, that was the first time I've listened to it since it came out a year ago. It's shocking that the Pearl Jam album has been around for a year and I listened to it once. I listened to it probably the day it came out or a couple days before it came out. Of course, I had a leaked copy of it, digitally listened to it. And it just, like I said, just nothing caught my attention. It's not, I didn't go, this album sucks. What is wrong with Pearl Jam? Nothing like that, but I listened to it and I went, this album just I don't know how else to say it. It just didn't do anything for me when I listened to it today after a year. I still feel the same way. It's just and I think there are a few reasons for that. One, and I'm not sure where to start. I'll kind of do this stream of conscious as I always do. One is that I think there was a little bit of a bias on my end towards it even before it came out for a couple reasons. One, it was produced by a guy called Andrew Watt. Now Andrew Watt. These all kind of go together. Eddie Vedder did a solo album. He's done a few solo albums, but his most recent one was called Eddie Vedder Earthlings. It came out in 2022. And it was produced by, and I think largely, I don't know if it was written also with Andrew Watt. I think not written with, but produced by Andrew Watt, and he played a lot on it, I think. And to me, that album was different than, he did an album, Ukulele Songs. It was called Ukulele Songs, and it was all ukulele songs, and he did Into the Wild. And to me, those seem like Eddie Vedder songs. They seem different. The last one, Eddie Vedder Earthlings, was, to me, it almost was like Pearl Jam light. It felt a little bit more rock, but not really rock like Pearl Jam. And so maybe knowing that this album was also produced by Andrew Watt, I maybe had a bias towards thinking it's going to sound more again like Eddie Vedder's solo Earthlings records. So there was that. Another thing is, another kind of a bias, and I hate this, I fucking hate it when bands talk about their records before they come out. If they want to say facts about it, if they say it's finished, we recorded it, it's finished, it's coming out, whatever. Okay, if they want to say, because I remember when Pearl Jam did Backspacer before it came out, Stone Gossard said, this is our shortest album ever. I think it was 36 or 37 minutes. That's okay, that's a fact. But what I really, really hate, and I feel that there should be some kind of oversight committee or something, and bands should be fined for talking about records. They're really, I think, two things can happen, I guess. One, they're planting the seed for people to go, oh wow, this is their best album ever. They say it's their best album ever. Wow, then I think I'm gonna like it subconsciously. But it could be the opposite, and maybe that's what happened with me when they start saying how great a record is. I think they're almost setting themselves up for disappointment. Or if they say, a lot of these metal, or especially hair metal bands, when they start to kind of get away from that, they love to say, Skid Row said this is our heaviest record ever. And Gary Holt of Exodus, he always talks about how heavy and brutal and crushing the next Exodus record is, and I'm just tired of it. You're creating expectations, I think in many cases false expectations, and Mike McCree, it disappoints me to think that Pearl Jam does this, especially Mike McCree, because I'm a huge Mike McCree fan, and I hate that he said this. He said, this is a terrible thing to say about Pearl Jam. He said, I don't know if this was his exact words, he used the word heavier. I think he said something like, this is going to be heavier than people think, or it's heavier than anything we've done before, which made me think, oh, okay, well, Mike McCree is not prone to exaggeration, as Pete Townsend said in, what song was that? However Much I Booze, second song from The Who by Numbers. Mike McCree is not one of these, self-promoting guys, so I thought, wow, if he, says that, okay, that gets my attention. I don't want Pearl Jam to be heavy. Pearl Jam is not a heavy band. They have their moments of anger and aggression and intensity, but not heaviness. But I did think, oh, okay, interesting, because their last album before was Gigaton, and that really had, similar to this, although I did like Gigaton better, I still don't love it. I thought, okay, maybe they're going back to playing, the kind of Pearl Jam that I like. And Eddie Vedder said, such a cliche, I don't expect this from Pearl Jam. He said it's the best record we've ever done. I'm very proud of this band and what we've accomplished. I just don't like it. So maybe that also, your expectations are up here, and it's almost impossible to live up to that. Now, getting back to Andrew Watt, I've mentioned many times, I think people give way too much credit when an album is great or sounds great, and way too much blame when it's bad. So I don't really care. I don't automatically think this album is going to be good or bad based on the name attached to it, where it says produced by on the back. But I think I did have that preconceived notion, knowing that he produced the Eddie Vedder album. And to me, this record, and here it is, this record, Dark Matter, it's very slick. and glossy and shiny. And Pearl Jam always had kind of something about them that was not really, I don't know about raw, maybe it's too strong to say raw, but they had a certain imperfection to them. Their music, I mean, it was great. They didn't make mistakes on their records, of course, but it had something about it that seemed very live and very spontaneous. Like you could almost picture the five of them sitting in a studio and playing together. And I don't get that at all from this record. To me, it sounds very polished. Maybe some people would say it's overproduced. I hate shit like that. I think that's just a cliche. So there's that. Also, I think this album sonically, and I'm not blaming this on Andrew Watt, it doesn't sound that good. When I listened to this today, when I was exercising, the album finished, and so I was still in Pearl Jam mode, so I went back and listened to a few songs from Lightning Bolt, which was a pretty good record. Not my favorite, but I liked it. There were some awesome songs on that, some so-so. But I listened to a few songs from there, and I thought, like immediately after Dark Matter ended, I thought, this is how I like Pearl Jam to sound. You could hear all the instruments separately. To me, Dark Matter just sounds like just a big ball of sound, but at the same time, it sounds very glossy and slick and shiny and juicy and whatever words I said a few minutes ago. And I think it's quite loud. It just sounds like all the instruments sound together. I mean, there are times where you can pick out little instruments here and there, but not like, previous Pearl Jam albums where you could really, really pick out the instruments where everybody sounds like they're you could hear them separately, but they all sound like they're playing together. I don't know if that made any sense, but yeah, I just don't like the way this album sounds. And did I make my point about Mike McCree saying this album is heavier? There's very, very little in the way of intensity. There's no heaviness at all on this record. There's some intensity, but I don't know what Mike McCree was thinking when he said this album is heavier than you might expect. I don't get that at all. And maybe the last thing that gave me a little bit of a bias towards maybe not disliking it, but not liking it, I don't think this album cover is very good. Now, Pearl Jam, I know they, maybe more than any band, they really put a lot of effort and work, and there's a lot of thought that goes into their album covers. Like this is, I don't remember the story about what this is, but this is like an actual something. I don't know what it is. It's not just, this is not light and fire. This is actually something, there's some scientific explanation to it, and I think the words, am I right in thinking that the words Pearl Jam and Dark Matter, that those were actually written by light or something like that? So, but I mean, visually, it's not like the Kiss records where you would, listen to it and just stare at it, agape, mouth agape, I think is the word. You go, okay, yeah, it's fire or light, whatever this is, and these kind of wing things. And it's kind of similar to binaural, as some people say. Yeah, so, and you might say, oh, but you should listen with your ears, not with your eyes. Yes, I agree. But as I've said before, some bands spend a lot of money and put a lot of effort and thought into album covers. And the reason they do that, hopefully, is to get people's attention. And this album cover just really didn't do it for me. And it's also a little bit long. This album is, it's 11 songs, 40... And I always know this by how long I exercise. It's around, I think, close to 50 minutes, 46, 47, 48, 49, around there. And it's not, albums aren't necessarily long just on the minutes or just the number of songs. But I think because a lot of these songs for me are, there's not a wide range of styles or songs or sounds on this album. So they don't really separate themselves. So I think that kind of makes it long. If that made sense. All right. So I will open it now. Not much to see on the hype sticker. It just says pressed on black vinyl. That's all it says. And Pearl Jam, they're pretty sparse on the back. They put these out on their own label called Monkey Wrench Records, and no barcode, no UPC code. This is on the shrink wrap, but their records are our artwork is very minimal, and this is a gatefold. And I have to say, Pearl Jam, maybe more than any other band, has, aside from the actual album cover, they have amazing packaging. Iron Maiden is up there too, I think. No, for sure. But yeah, Pearl Jam has and Metallica good, and those are three of my probably 4 or 5 favorite bands, including Motorhead. So I will open this up and see what the packaging is. Pearl Jam, I think, is always, have they ever not had the lyrics in any of their albums? I think they've had them for every album. I would expect this to be the same. So I will open up and see what the gatefold and the inner sleeve is, because it's probably pretty cool. And it's nice, and it's a nice matte finish, like my friend from high school, matte finish, good guy, strong guy, big guy, tears rolling down his face when he listens to Pearl Jam. So here it is, and as I always do with Pearl Jam, not Pearl Jam, with gatefolds, you, the valued viewer, will see the gatefold before mine eyes. That's how Thor talks, the Marvel comic character. He says mine eyes, I think. What the hell am I talking about? Oh, it's kind of stiff. It's a little bit, it feels like it's gonna, I hear it when I stretch it open. I can hear it stretching. It's like an old man with bones creaking. Anyway, I feel like I shouldn't open it anymore. How's that? What is it? Is it, it's probably not a picture of Pearl Jam. They don't really promote themselves like that. Oh, that's a terrible, I mean, I guess if I read the story behind it, I'd probably go, oh, okay, that's pretty cool. But yeah, that's not a very good, that's actually kind of disappointing. All right, well, let's see what else is in here. All right, okay, I feel a thick book. What the hell is this? This is this just one piece? Does it open? I don't know, what, is it a sticker? I think it feels like a sticker. It's a set of 6 stickers, really pretty boring. I mean, it's cool that they do it, but those are not interesting stickers. All right, there's that. All right, now this is cool. Oh, and I love the smell of it. This is, I had a friend, his name was Juan Pablo. That guy used to smell everything. You would give him anything, the first thing he would do was smell it. Very strange. All right, so this is cool packaging. It's printed on nice, thick, heavy stock paper. It has the band members' names, the track list, lyrics, some studio pictures. That is, I'm not sure if that's Mike McCree or Stone Gossard. All right, and more artsy fartsy stuff like this. There's Matt Cameron. Artsy fartsy stuff. Artsy fartsy. There's Mike McCree. So I guess the first picture was Stone. This is Jeff. After 36 years of Pearl Jam fandom, I still don't know this guy's name, if it's Jeff Ament or Jeff Ament. Even the guys in the band have said his name different ways. And there's Eddie Vedder. And very few credits or thank yous. And you know what? This is another thing I don't like this. This is the first album that Pearl Jam musically, they always, I think aside from, I think every album, maybe not Versus or Vitalogy, they always had writing credits. And this was kind of cool because as a big Pearl Jam fan, when they used to have, like, this song was written by Jeff Ament, this song was written by Stone Gossard and Mike McCree. I used to really pay attention to that, and so you used to kind of pick, or you could tell, this sounds like a Stone song, or this sounds like an Eddie Vedder song. This, they're back to all songs written by Pearl Jam and Andrew Watt. This is the first time they've ever used an outside songwriter, and I don't know, that kind of bothers me. Maybe again, it's like a subconscious thing. It plants the seed that, this great band that I've been into for 36 years. 30, how long? I got in 91, 34 years. Now all of a sudden they're using an outside writer. To me, it almost feels like an intruder coming into your house or something. I don't know how much input Andrew Watt had on these songs, but he is credited. All songs written by Vedder, Ament, Gossard, McCree, Cameron, Watt. I would imagine it's probably that's just a credit thing. I'm sure they wrote their songs as normal and then just decided, you know what, this time we're going to give everybody credit. But yeah, that I don't like that there's an outsider in my world of Pearl Jam. All right. So let's see the actual record. It's probably just a plain black sleeve. Why can't I get this out? Yeah. There it is. And, okay, Juan Pablo, stop that. And there it is. All right. So that's tough to get back in a little bit. All right, so yeah, good packaging. Pearl Jam is top notch for packaging. They're very artistic, I guess. So I'll put that away. So of course I'll deal with that nonsense later. So of course I do need notes, and I took them and I've got them right here, and I will go through this. The first track is Scared of Fear. It has a kind of like this slow, quiet build up for the first 20-30 seconds, and then a very weird guitar. It opens with a guitar riff that's a very weird, very un-Pearl Jam like guitar tone to open this record. It's kind of an, as you would expect, as often the first songs are. It's a little bit up tempo. It's got a little bit of a like Soundgarden, a little bit of a start and stop thing, especially in the verses. And I'll point out, I did write here, this does have a guitar solo, because Mike McCree was saying that this album is heavier. I thought maybe he was just playing more solos, and there are some solos on it. And getting to that, and I'll point out the songs with guitar solos. This is nothing against Mike McCready. Again, he's one of my favorite musicians. I love Mike McCready. There wasn't one solo on this record that really jumped out at me. Like nothing that rips your face off, nothing that's really melodic and gets your attention and makes you remember it. They're just, okay, he's playing a guitar solo. And I think most of them, I didn't keep track of this, but most of them I think were like at the end, kind of like in the outros of the song. So yeah, Scared of Fear, it's okay. It's fine, not my favorite. Next is React, Respond. I like this, it's got a really cool, kind of a rapid fire, kind of venomous spitting vocal delivery by Eddie Vedder. This song is maybe as close, I think there's another one too, as close maybe as this album gets to angry or intense. It's also got a guitar solo, and this song, it was pretty good. I like React Respond. Next was Wreckage. It's kind of a quiet song, quite melodic. It's pretty good. Next is Dark Matter, the title track. This is not going to be very long, this track by track. Dark Matter, he mentions, I was listening to it and I thought, he mentions King Diamond, Pink Floyd, and Dave Grohl. Yeah, in the lyrics. I don't know what he says about them, but I'm pretty sure that's what he says. King Diamond, Pink Floyd, Dave Grohl. This also has a guitar solo, and it's so-so. Nothing special, nothing stood out to me. Next is Won't Tell. This song did nothing for me. I think this one more than the other ones is very glossy and shiny and bright. And to me, it's like it's saying Andrew Watt, Andrew Watt, Andrew Watt. I don't know if that's true or not. Next is Upper Hand. This, to me, sounded very Pink Floydish, and I'm not a Pink Floyd fan, so maybe I'm not the one who should be saying that, but I felt like this, especially the first part of it anyway, was very Pink Floydish. It also has a guitar solo, and it's also just like this, so. Next is Waiting for Stevie. Now, if I remember the story correctly, this is a song about Stevie Rachelle from the band Tough. Not T-O-U-G-H, but T-U-F-F. This song is about waiting for Stevie. He was, I guess, coming into the studio to do some work with Pearl Jam. I think he was going to lay down some vocals, and they were waiting for Stevie. So they called the song Waiting for Stevie, parentheses, Rachelle from Tough. Yeah. This one, for me, has the best vocal on the record. I think his Eddie Vedder's vocal sounds great. Not just his voice, but the melody of the vocals I thought was excellent. Guitar solo. This was one solo that I did like. I wrote down that this was my favorite solo. I typically wouldn't have a favorite solo, but this one caught my attention more than the other ones. So my favorite song and my favorite solo. I like Waiting for Stevie, my favorite song on the record, but it's got a weird kind of like a coda at the end. When I listened to this today, when I was out walking, I had to, as each song started, I had to check on my phone to see what the name of the song was. And so the song ended, Waiting for Stevie Rochelle, ends, cold ending, stops, and then a few seconds later, what you think is the next song comes in. It's kind of a quiet song, and then it stops and it gets kind of hard. And I thought, oh, that's a new song. But that song, I mean, that coda that I thought was part of the next song, that was like a tag or a coda at the end of Waiting for Stevie. Not sure what that's about. I don't know, but that extends the song maybe by 30 seconds. And then the next song is called Running. This is a short song. It's only 2 minutes 19 seconds. This is a little bit more aggressive or intense. But a weird, again, I don't know if this is Andrew Watt or something. There's a weird, and I can't really pick out the instruments individually so cleanly. There's something that's all through this song. I don't know if it's a keyboard or what it is, but it kind of, to me, it kind of distracted me. I couldn't really hear all the other instruments. To me, it took away from the song. That's what I thought. But I did like the song. Running is pretty good. Next is Something Special. I did like this song a lot. Only really 2 songs I really liked. The other ones were just so-so. Something Special. It's kind of a nice, happy sounding song. Good song, and one of the lyrics was, "You're both so special," something that I picked up on when I listened to it. I assume, presumably, Eddie Vedder is talking about, I think he has one kid. I know he has a daughter named Olivia, and so presumably when he says, "You're both so special," he's talking about his daughter and his wife. I know, I'm just guessing. I also guessed that the other song was about Stevie Rochelle. Next is Got to Give. The first appearance of acoustic guitar, at least that I could hear. Maybe all the other songs had acoustic guitar, but it was kind of buried in there. But this had, the intro had kind of an acoustic guitar. And I like acoustic guitar in Pearl Jam music. So acoustic intro, it's kind of got a nice melody, and it's pretty good. Not great, but it's okay. And then the last song is Setting Sun. Kind of a semi-acoustic song, which again, I like. I like the vocal melody, very cool, and a pretty good song also. So that's it for Pearl Jam Dark Matter. And this is, I'm a little bit concerned now because this is 2 records in a row, Gigaton and this one, that I'm really, am I on the fence about it? Maybe not even, maybe I'm on the other side of the fence towards, I don't want to say disliking. I'm not going to shit on it. I don't think I could ever do that with Pearl Jam, but I want to be realistic about it. And I don't need Pearl Jam to be like Blood and Whipping and Comatose and Mind Your Manners. And, they had some very intense, real rock songs with the big, the real driving rockers like Life Wasted, one of my favorites. And I don't need Pearl Jam to be like that. They don't need to go back to playing 1991 music. But, this album just didn't really do it for me. Very, very disappointing to think that about a Pearl Jam record. All right, so that is it with the and did you notice I tried to color coordinate with the black and white and the black and white and the shoes and everything? Huh? You noticed? Pretty good, huh? That's my way of drawing attention to the album cover. So I thank you for watching, and this has been Pearl Jam's kind of disappointing for me as a lifelong Pearl Jam fan. Not lifelong, life of the band long Pearl Jam fan. Hey, it's Dark Matter.